My name is Dr. Merdijana Kovacevic, and I provide clinical services in the accelerated treatment program within the combat cohorts as well as the MST cohorts. My favorite part of my job is sitting with the patient and getting those aha moments where they are finally able to release some of the weight that they've been carrying, the guilt, the shame, the self-blame. Those moments are very powerful, and to see that happen within 2 weeks is really impactful. I also really enjoy advocating for MST survivors. We run a series at the Road Home program so that we can share some of the best practices with other people as well, so that we can increase the amount of services available for MST survivors that are also fitting all of their different needs. Military sexual trauma, or MST, refers to sexual harassment or sexual violence that occurs during any point of someone's military period. Sexual harassment refers to unsolicited verbal or physical contacts that are sexual in nature or threatening in character. Military sexual trauma can happen on or off base, and the perpetrator may be a civilian or a member of the military. It's really difficult to determine the prevalence of military sexual trauma because there are so many barriers to reporting. There's some estimates that up to 14% of military members experience sexual violence in the military, and then there's estimates of up to 40% experiencing sexual harassment. And as a result of military sexual trauma, there's various mental and physical health impacts. So I'll talk through a few, but there's really a wide variety. Oftentimes, military sexual trauma survivors may carry a betrayal, not only from the perpetrator, but also from the military as an institution. Because the military may create an environment that may make MST more likely, and that may make reporting really difficult. Survivors of MST report fear to report due to fear of retaliation, fear of isolation, or fear that their careers may drastically change. Oftentimes, military sexual trauma survivors may also try to make sense of what happened, and as a result, they may try to think about what they should have done differently or how they could have prevented the event, and that can lead to a lot of self-blame, guilt, and shame, which is something that the Road Home program really tries to help survivors with. Other impacts of MST include depression, anxiety, disordered eating, abusing substances. Another impact of MST is PTSD. Some studies have found that women veterans who've experienced MST are 9 times more likely to be diagnosed with PTSD as compared to women veterans who haven't experienced MST. And other studies have also found that men who've experienced MST may report very severe symptoms of PTSD as compared to other individuals. So it can have devastating impacts on mental health and also on physical health. So some examples may include chronic medical conditions such as diabetes, chronic pain, or difficulty with sexual functioning. There are various best practices for MST survivors, and all the ones that I'll mention right now are the ones that the Road Home program also does. One great practice is to make sure that all staff, as well as clinicians, are really trained to be sensitive towards MST survivors and their needs. Another consideration is to provide services to MST survivors in a genuine and caring way, especially since many MST survivors may have felt betrayed by people and institutions. So it's really important within any of our spaces to be able to cultivate trust, openness, choice, empowerment, and a culture of inclusivity. Another important component is to provide trauma-focused treatments for MST survivors. At the Road Home program, one option that we provide is cognitive processing therapy that can help survivors of MST and other traumas really look at how have these traumas really impacted how they think about themselves, other people and the world. And CPT equips survivors with tools to be able to work through places where they really get stuck and narrowed in so that they can live a more meaningful life moving forward. And another big component that can be helpful for MST survivors is providing services for how do you manage strong emotions like that guilt and shame, as well as how do you develop healthy relationships, as that may have been something that was really fractured after experiencing MST. Along with all of these mental health services, it's also really important to address those physical health concerns that are common for MST survivors. Here at the Road Home program, one service that we provide is having a pelvic health therapist who can provide information about pelvic health and PTSD and help survivors better understand that and manage some of the pelvic health symptoms as a result. One message I would say to people is that MST survivors are not alone, but there are options to be able to learn how to cope with the symptoms that come from it and how to build a more meaningful life for yourself and the ones that you love.